Hello, everyone. It's Comfort Beat and Bash once again, and welcome to the introduction of PHP. We're going to start the PHP tutorial series, of which I'm going to take you from the beginner level to the professional level. Kindly note that you can follow up these videos even if you don't have any knowledge about programming. But what you just have to make sure of is please take note of this as a serious precaution before you could even hit the play button. Kindly make sure that you familiarize yourself with at least the basics of HTML and CSS, especially on HTML. That's hypertext markup language and cascade style sheet. Let's get back to the main topic. I know you guys are wondering to say like, Comfort, why are we starting the PHP tutorials in 2023 if there are hundreds of videos on YouTube for PHP? Okay, so now I have a very simple answer for that. The answer is okay. After I did a research and I tried my best to follow up most of the videos on YouTube, and I figured out to say most of the beginners do face uh, huge challenges trying to follow up those videos. So I thought of trying to make these sessions more motivating, at least like when you're even following them up, you even feel motivated. Do you even uh, know what you're going to build? Or I could say that most of the videos do lack passion. They're just straightforward, but I realized to say uh, as 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 the tutors we are always supposed to make those videos motivative. Uh Kindly bear with me that I've tried my best to simplify coding in these tutorial sessions. Before we could get started, let's see what that PHP is. PHP simply stands for Hypertext Preprocessor. So PHP is a server-side scripting programming language, which means PHP is not like some other scripting languages like hypertext markup language, of which they do run even in browsers, even if you don't have a server. With PHP, with it being called a server-side scripting programming language, it simply means that it can never run without a server. In order for you to start coding in PHP or to start running your codes, you really need a server. So, there are some other programming languages like Python, C++ that do run directly without a server. Though yeah, that do run without a server. But with PHP, things are quite different. PHP doesn't run in a console like other programming languages. PHP runs on a web server. So there are a number of web servers that we can use, but for these sessions, we are going to make use of XAMP. But if you're okay with using any other, there's no problem with that. And kindly note that what I'll be doing is supportive on almost all the operating systems that do exist and that supports hypertext preprocessor, and that's PHP. Let's also take a look at what you are going to build. We're going to, through these tutorial sessions, we'll be practicing some tasks like building the reward uh, projects or programs throughout these tutorials. The first, our main goal or our main objective of this tutorial is to build something like Facebook. I'm not going to say exactly like Facebook. I'm saying something like Facebook. So we are going to emulate something like Facebook here, which is going to have login, registration, forgot password, news feed, comments, likes, the messaging system, and the others. So that will be our main objective of this tutorial, so that at least you guys start learning with passion, so that you can be doing everything. So that you can be learning these tutorials with at least a passion of building something. Okay, let's see. So now let's get started. So what you're going to do now in this tutorial, we're just going to install the PHP server. Like I said, PHP doesn't work without a server because it's a server-side scripting programming language. So let's go. What you're going to do here is we're going to install a PHP server of which are going to install XAMP. So for now, we're just going to make our computer as a server. If you knew you can make a computer as a server, just follow what I'll be doing. Yeah, sure. So I'm going to search for XAMP. XAMP. So XAMP or XAMPP, it's a cross-platform PHP server, cross-platform web server to be specific, uh, which uses Apache HTTP server. So you can install it on your Mac operating system, Linux, Windows, and any other common operating system. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the first link here on Apache Friends, and I'm going to target the latest version. So if you're on Linux, you could just simply click here on Linux. If you're on Apple or Mac, you can just click over here. But since with me in my case, I'm on Windows, so I'm going to click direct here on Windows. Yeah, so it's going to start downloading. Okay, so it has opened a page here on SourceForge. Okay, so what you have to do next is to wait, yeah, until it starts. So excuse, okay, sorry, excuse for that. Okay, until it starts. As for me, I'm going to cancel this one since I already have it. So what you just have to do is when it finishes downloading, just install it, and then when you install it, it's going to create a folder. It's going to create a folder on local disk C, which is named XAMP. So you just have to click over there, and then you look for XAMP control, double click on it, you start Apache. So Apache is the web server that you are going to be using. So you can learn more about the Apache web server. I'll leave the link in the description. So Apache is just a web server that you are going to use to run PHP. It's the mostly used web server among others, even though NGX seems to be becoming so powerful nowadays. But for now, we're going to be using the Apache web server. You can learn more. You can learn more about the servers. I'll leave the link in the description. And here we have MySQL here. So MySQL is a database. So this is the database that we're going to be using. So for now, let's take note of only these two things. No, only these three things. FileZilla. So FileZilla is an FTP, a file transfer protocol application, yeah, which we're going to be using for transferring our files. So for now, let's just to test if your server was successfully installed, kindly click on start on Apache and MySQL. So let me start by clicking on MySQL. If MySQL runs, then it means our server was successfully installed. So for now, I'm not going to talk much about MySQL for now, but in the incoming videos, I have a continuous series where we're just going to be interacting with the database. That's where we're going to understand how our MySQL works. So for now, let's just focus on Apache. We'll get back to MySQL as the time goes on through this tutorial series. So let's also test for Apache. So when XAMP is installed for the first time, it brings something like this, like just something of a static website showing us the documentation of XAMP, and it's just a user-friendly way of interacting with XAMP. Okay, so what you're going to do here is inside the XAMP folder, we're going to find a folder which is named htdocs. So this htdocs folder, it is the folder that you're going to be keeping in everything that you're going to be working with. To be specific, the codes, the PHP codes, all will be saved in here in Apache, in the htdocs folder. So what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to delete everything in here. Okay, so after I delete, you're just going to create a folder. I'm going to call it PHP beginner, PHP, no, PHP tuts. I'm going to name it PHP tuts. Okay, so for now, I'm just going to leave it like this. So let's try to check from our our server here. I'm going to open another tab here. I'm going to just type in localhost only, and then I hit enter. So if it brings something like this, then which means you are almost there and you are ready for the next tutorial session for the part 2 or episode 2 to be specific. So if I do click here, it's going to show nothing since we haven't put anything in there. So that's all I had for this tutorial, say for this episode, guys, and see you in the next episode. We are going to talk about the PHP syntax and develop the variable declaration. So see you in the next episode. Cheers.